Hey guys, Ken Maxfield, known as the Hide Guy, and this is my weekly recap for the week ending April the 5th. Week started off with Packers having more hides to offer than they've offered in the past few weeks. Number of lists included selections not seen offered in quite some time, number of increases in the number of loads offered, as well as hides that could ship the end of this month, early next month. So overall, the perception of the trade is that Packers were not nearly as well sold as they'd been advertising. As far as asking prices, most lowered their prices by $1, in some instances $2, depending on the packer, depending on the selection. What's worth noting is even with the decrease in the asking prices, it was still higher than where some of the trading levels actually were last week. So this was more of an effort of Packers trying to move asking prices closer to where actual trading levels were taking place. As far as interest this week, without a doubt, if you wanted to take less money, you could sell hides. The question is, how much less money were you willing to do? We had bids that range from $1 to $2 below asking prices to bids that were $3 to $5 under. Packers did their best to try to manage the situation, minimize the amount of money they're going to have to, lower prices they're going to have to take. That impacted the number of hides trading. And we were walking away from the office tonight under the opinion that Packers likely did not sell their production this week. Excuse me, as far as in the cowhide trade, number of producers entered the week with offer lists that appeared to be a little more populated. Couple things going on here. We've had an unseasonably large number of cows in the harvest mix since the 1st of March. Also, the interest on cows has been really lackluster for the last 5-6 weeks. And what that's done is that's taken these producers who had been enjoying some pretty decent sold forward positions into situations following the Packers where they've got more hides for sale than they're willing to admit, and they're pushing for sales. As far as interest, it started out a little slow. Seemed to be some interest in the middle of the week, albeit at lower money. Begrudgingly, producers took lower prices, anywhere from $1 to $2 down. Reports were decent sales, but not enough to clear their production. Efforts by buyers to knock prices even lower as the week progressed. Producers appears that they dug in their heel, held on for the newly traded lower levels. It appears they were able to duplicate some of that business. So it looks like maybe that line in the sand drawn was successful for them. But overall, I would say as a group, sellers likely did not clear the harvest this week. And speaking of the harvest, it came in at 621,000. We'd been telling you it was going to be larger as we go forward. It was 614 last week, 615 a year ago. So we are up about 55,000 head over last year. That's about 0.7%. That trend's going to continue, and as we've been telling you all along, we're going to see probably 1 to 1.5% higher than we saw last year. The export report, surprisingly, a decent report this week. Most of us, including myself, were not looking for sales to be close to 600,000. We had 470 wet salted hides, 140 wet blue hides. Those are both higher, the wet salted hides are higher than the prior week by about 15%. The wet blue sales at the 140 are about 30% lower because we had 200,000 on the week before for wet blue sales. Shipments were average, nothing great. They came in at about 383,000 for wet salted. That was 23% higher than the previous week, but it's down 2% from the 4-week running average. So that's why I said it was nothing great. Shipments on wet blue hides totaled 144. That's 16% higher than last week, but it is down 4% from the 4-week running average. So kind of a mixed bag. You had better than expected sales and a little worse shipments than expected. Taking a quick look around the globe, our friends from Europe are crying the blues, to put it bluntly. A lot of the people we talk to are producers. We're hearing stories about how they are struggling to justify some of the bidding levels they have coming in. They've obviously transferred the cattle at much higher levels and are looking at some substantial losses. And they're really struggling to resign themselves to the fact that they're probably going to have to take multiple dollars off of their asking prices in order to get items sold, which is going to ensure them some pretty big losses. Continued reports of lots of bull hides for sale. That's due to the declining automotive demand out of the European tanners, and that's backed up bulls something fierce for them. They also are reported to have a number of cowhides unsold in Europe and matching other parts of the world. Down in Brazil, wet blue prices are going lower. I know that our friends would like to tell us they can trade them at 60 cents. I don't think that is an asking price. That is a want price. Actual levels are probably 55 cents at best. I've heard rumors of 50 cents for volume, able to take prompt. So still a lot of product down there for sale and lots of inventory in warehouses with people looking to sell. Going over to Australia, our friends have a similar situation. The good news is there has been some rain in the country, so harvest levels kind of slowed. That said, they had been running a little higher than normal. That's not good news for those trying to sell hides because they're bucking up against everyone else in the world who has plenty of hides for sale. They can't, even though their numbers aren't nearly as big as other places like the United States and Brazil, they're having trouble holding their prices steady as well. And demand just isn't enough. So that's the story there. Looking ahead to next week, I guess our thoughts are we're likely going to see offer lists continue to be populated. It still appears as if there's too many people that can ship hides promptly. They're out looking for voluminous type business. Those who are able to take volume and able to have money and able to take them immediately are likely going to win the negotiation side on prices. It remains a buyer's market. End of the day, there's just simply too many hides for the amount of demand that's out there. So that's it for this week. Ken Maxfield, the Hide Guy. Check out my website, www.themaxfieldreport.com. I do offer free 14-day, no obligation trials. Until next week, thanks.